hope your front door is locked and your phone is switched off. It's match time, and nothing can come in the way of a head coach and his Blood Bowl.
Yes, yes. Puns are
Welcome,
awesome.
Dot. Hi.
Hey.
Thanks. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Kind of relaxed, really.
Happy birthday. Or congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. So, quick round of introductions. Over here on Discord, we now have 4 of us. So, I'm the Sage. I am probably one of the less neurotic people talking today, but
Screw you.
Yeah. that was mostly poking at Dot. No.
Okay.
So Dot is a very, very close friend of mine. We went to college together. She defected to psychology a bit earlier than I did, which is why, unlike myself, she is now a trained psychologist, whereas I merely have a PhD in something brainy. And so she'll be available to talk to those viewers who would care to join us. If you're watching and you would like to speak up, then please tell us so in the living room in my Discord channel, which Kumo will link for you. Well, kind of now, but time travel is a thing. And hopefully Dot will be able to help out. We also have Sheepdog on the channel right now.
Yo!
Hey there, Sheep.
What's up?
And Sheepdog is a YouTube streamer these days, and he does a lot of different games. He has done a lot of Blood Bowl in the past. In fact, I'm pretty sure some of the people watching right now got started on Blood Bowl by watching Sheep.
I used to stream on Twitch for hundreds of people, and then I decided, fuck it, I hate Blood Bowl.
Yeah. So
Actually, to be fair, I don't hate Blood Bowl, I hate Cyanide, there's a difference.
Well, they got better.
No, they didn't. I mean, I know you're friendly with them, so, you know, I'm gonna shit on them even more than I usually would, but...
Oh, that's fine. The thing is, I like to be fair in this kind of stuff, and yes, they have treated me well here and there.
Yeah.
Although they've never actually paid me for anything. That's not true. They paid me for the World Cup coverage.
Sweet.
Correction. But do we want to get into this?
I mean,
Yeah,
I could talk for hours about how crap Cyanide are.
I think they did a really bad job with their business model for Blood Bowl 1, which I never played.
Blood Bowl 1's better than Blood Bowl 2, technically speaking, because
The business model or the game?
The game. I don't know about the business part of it.
Because what they did there was when they released new versions, they were not cross-compatible, so you had to get the entire new game.
Yeah.
And the DLC model at least makes a lot more sense, because you're paying for the extra races you're getting. You don't have to get them to keep playing. So I think in that respect, they did a lot better. And that was, I think, one of the biggest issues people have with the way they did things.
No, I mean, like, when you think about it, this is their 3rd attempt at Blood Bowl.
Ah, right, because the first one was
Chaos League.
the one that they were they didn't have permission for, and then got away with. Which is kinda cool.
Like they did Chaos League and then Blood Bowl 1 or Blood Bowl and then Blood Bowl 2, and they're still terrible at giving the fans what they want. And they okay, so I'll talk about this very, very quickly because, as I said, I could go on for years about this shit, but. One of the things that was massive for the fans of Blood Bowl and etc., was the cheerleaders. Not that difficult to do, guys, and they still fucked it up. Like, what did they do? 2 extra types of cheerleaders, and they all look exactly the same? I mean, even the human ones, they're all, like, I love gingers, don't get me wrong. But,
she's a fake.
I'm a ginger, so I don't.
I'm a gentleman, I wasn't going to mention that.
Sheep's a gentleman. Right?
But yeah, no. They're all redheads, and they all look exactly the same. There's like 12 twins in the. I mean, how hard is it to put a little bit of effort in? But you know, like honestly, I think Blood Bowl the release for Blood Bowl 2 was a huge thing, and when you look at the release for the Legendary Edition, it's so much less of a boom. Like, people don't care as much, and that's because the single player was crap, and it still is crap. You know, they haven't listened to anything really that the fans want. They tried to make it they tried to focus on making it what's it called, esports game, and that's just never going to happen. You know, it's still a good game, don't get me wrong. I love Blood Bowl, but Cyanide's terrible. Take Blood Bowl away from them, give it to someone who can do a good job.
All right, fair
anyway.
So I hope you, so Dot, I hope you found that very interesting. Are you ready to dive into Sheepy yet?
I was gonna say, as a trained psychologist, I hear a lot of trauma there.
Oh, yeah.
Like to talk about it.
As someone who has had mental issues most of my life, I am practiced and entrenched in my position, and I hate all psychologists. Hey,
so you're better than me. Oh, really?
Right.
So that was that then?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, any viewers who would care to come on voice to share or ask questions, poke us, and then we will give you access to the stream channel. One of the mods can do that. Probably come. And also, if you don't feel comfortable doing so, feel free to send me like a Twitch whisper or something if you want to be anonymous, and then I can read out your questions or comments without mentioning your name, if that helps.
Yes.
Hey there, Monkey. All right. We're also going to be playing a game because this is a Twitch stream, and
you can stream on Twitch without playing games now.
Yeah, I know. I saw this really awful clip of a girl saying, "Yeah, and I'm so glad IRL streaming is a thing because, you know, you put on your cleavage and then you'd have to go and play games. But now I can I can stream without having to pretend I like games. Thank you, Twitch." Oh.
That made me so infuriated when I saw that as a girl on Twitch.
Yeah, because
who actually plays games.
Sorry?
Was it really a girl?
Looked like it.
The boobs said girl.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there were real boobs. Okay, I thought it was...
Yes.
No, they were probably not real, but they were there.
Well, then you can't say it was a girl. You got to check under the hood.
Exactly.
Yeah, you never know
And even
nowadays.
then?
Wow. Even then, you can't be sure.
That's why when I go out on a night out nowadays, I make sure to have no physical contact until we're both naked.
That never fails.
That's such a great idea.
Right?
Wow.
I know people, like, they judge you when you say that, but it's a
no
brilliant idea.
bullshitting. Oh, that's great. I would love to go out with you.
I'm basically a pioneer when it comes to physical relationships.
Okay.
Speaking of which, go ahead and get a babe, Sheep.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So, part of the reason why I invited Sheep here is because it's my Twitch birthday, and the first time Sheep and I met was actually when we played each other on my first Twitch birthday,
Yes.
which makes this our 1 year anniversary, Sheep.
Oh, man.
Congratulations, guys!
It's been a ride, man.
Yeah, we really do need to do more stuff soon.
Yes.
More
Have you had a
physical contact?
Sure.
Well, I
I'll
totally
have to
touch your
check under
beard.
his hood first, but sure.
Make sure I'm not a girl because that would be awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
So, Sheep, you're weird. Your brain
That
doesn't
was
work.
that was the other reason, exactly.
Yeah. Say, I've had enough conversations with Sage to have to at some point go, yeah, no, I haven't slept for 2 days, and you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot.
It's a kind of it's a cycle. It's been going on for like 10, 15 years.
Wow. So do you feel like your sleep is at the center of your issues, or is it just one of the more pronounced?
No, my problems started at puberty. I have hypothyroidism, which basically like messes up. It's complicated, but it basically messes up your body chemistry.
Yes,
and that is the cause of my insomnia and my anxiety, my panic attacks, my depression. You know, other shit exacerbates it, but that's basically where it originates from, at least.
And also the reason you used to see a lot of psychologists?
I've only really seen one properly. Most of the other ones were very... I'd go and see them, and I'd lie my arse off and basically pretend I was fine and fool them into thinking I was fine. So...
Yeah.
You're only fooling yourself then.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm also fooling them because they believe me.
Did you have to go see them?
Yeah, it wasn't my idea.
Okay. So basically, you were resisting getting helped.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. This is when I was younger, of course, but yeah, I was definitely resisting being helped.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Really? Because I did the same thing. Why do you resist help? Because I did the exact same thing.
There's no kind of like logical reason. I think it was very much like people, when people try and help you, you're so used to people either not understanding, not getting it, or just kind of, you know, they don't have the knowledge to properly assist you, I guess.
So you don't trust them to know better.
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I think it's slightly more like, you know, as you grow up with this shit, your family, you know, they're so anxious to help you, they always misstep in helping you. You know, like they'll do something or say something, and you know, as time goes on, it's an automatic reaction almost to resist help.
It sounds like you're resisting it because you've got it all figured out.
No. Like, you know, I've been with this stuff enough to know when I'm being an idiot, and you know, like these kind of things. But still, at the end of the day, like, you know, I will still almost knowingly resist help, and you know, do something that I know is harmful, and all this kind of stuff, you know.
Well, most of us do that in some respect, right?
Oh yeah, it's basically a human condition.
It is, and of course, I'm super interested in what happened, why you only saw one psychologist and decided that they're not going to help you, because it could be that a psychologist can't help you, and maybe you just didn't met the right one. But another question I have is, are you by any chance, are you gifted? Have you ever been tested? Or are you not at all? I don't know. I have no idea who you are, but just...
I mean, I'm famous on the internet, all right? People you should know who I am, really.
A celebrity! Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know you. I apologize deeply.
No, it's no.
Yes, dozens of people watch sheep every day.
Oh, yes.
Dozens? Is that a joke?
To be honest, I don't know about the YouTubes.
Okay, never mind.
YouTube, it's thousands, yeah.
Okay. Why I asked about the gifted thing is, you sound like you've got it all figured out, like you may know or think you know more. I'm not saying you don't, but I have met lots of people who are gifted, and they struggle because they don't know how to explain their train of thought to another, and they get really impatient when people don't get them. I understand, because I'm not saying I'm
because
gifted.
I'm gifted too.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm so gifted. No, but I do understand, because I've worked with a lot of people that are gifted, and it's just a real, it's a barricade, really. And especially if it comes to seeking help and talking to another person that doesn't get you, that's why I'm asking.
I wouldn't say gifted really applies. I think at best I could say I'm fairly self-aware.
But you're not dumb. You're definitely one of the smarter people.
Yeah,
You're a mod 4.
I had a problem at school, and it's partially to do with my my anxiety and all that shit. But I had a problem at school, like getting any type of getting any type of enthusiasm for work, or just doing much of anything that I didn't particularly want to do, I guess. I think, like, I don't know, it's one of those things where it's hard to kind of, I guess, diagnose yourself with that. But yeah, I hate playing these games while I'm trying to actually think.
Well, thinking is overrated in this game anyway.
No, it was never really a problem of it's never really a problem with these people, with these psychologists or psychiatrists or whatever, keeping up with me. It was a lot more that, it was very by the numbers. And I think when you're dealing with someone who has anxiety, who has depression and all these kind of things, it's very important that you treat everyone differently, because the way people deal with anxiety, the way people deal with depression is very different. And it's not the same as, if someone comes in with a cold, then you can treat their symptoms. If someone comes in with anxiety or depression or anything, you have to treat the person, not the
Of course, and you have to dig in to see what's going on, because it could be different for everyone. I mean, there's so many different kinds of depression. Actually, there's no depression. It's like it's a state of mind that you can have because of everything. And I hope that my fellow psychologists, and me, by the way, do that. I mean, you're absolutely right. You should look at the bigger picture. But you should also work on a relationship with someone, with we call them clients, but with your patient, in order to get that information from them. And it sounds like you may not have even given them all the information, or didn't want to, or did you?
Should... No, definitely not. Like, I avoided until it was my choice, when I decided I actually wanted to talk to someone. I needed someone to discuss this stuff with. Until then, I avoided all kind of all opening up and letting people know the truth. So
when did that change? Because I know from your streams that you tend to be pretty open about your stuff, right? I mean, you can send out a tweet saying, yeah, I almost got out of the house today and stuff like that. So at some point you started opening up, and I'm wondering what made that happen for you.
Honestly, I've always been a fairly open person. It was more just like, there was no need to say, to tell people these things until I started doing YouTube and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Before that, like, people would, people never go up to you, even like your friends and stuff, and say, hey, are you having a panic attack? Because it's the kind of thing you hide, by nature.
So you feel like you can be more open with your viewers than you could with the people you knew in real life? Would that be a fair description?
No, I think a bit more. People in my real life didn't need a reason as to why I was bailing out of, hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you've got a live stream schedule, or when you're supposed to do videos but you can't really feel up to it, you need a reason. And I'm not really the type of person to go be like, hey guys, I'm really ill, so I can't do a thing. Yeah.
It's also underestimated that actually it can be described as mental illness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because usually it's like you're a bit under the weather, so come on, you can still move. You can talk, right? You have a voice, so come on. That's a very hard part as well.
And if you don't suffer from it, then understanding that your mood isn't something that you necessarily control, or that you can just turn on or off. I mean, even if you know that the stuff you're feeling is irrational, that doesn't give you control over not feeling it, and that's quite often difficult for people to grasp.
Yeah. Even if you did feel it and then stopped feeling it, even if you had to deal with some sort of depression or anxiety, and you don't have it anymore, it's sometimes even hard for people to understand how they felt or to remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very, very tricky thing. And as you said, you're opening up to, for instance, YouTube people, and they may or may not comment. It's different than to open up to someone who will actually talk with you, think with you, and interrogate you even. Yeah. I understand really well why people don't necessarily want to talk to psychologists. Also because I had to deal with some kind of depression / anxiety. I still don't know. And I was a student back then and of psychology or in psychology. And they even call it the student disease, that when you study it, you feel like you have everything you study. And it was a really big step for me to actually go to a psychologist and talk about it, because I was like, I already know what you're going to ask me because I study it. It was very hard. Yeah.
Like, I've never studied psychology or anything, but I've had some experience going to psychologists and stuff. It's just from like personal experience. But I find that the most helpful kind of, let's say, skill that you can have in when you're dealing with patients and things like that is the ability to, I'd say, not judge and listen. Mm-hmm. That's like, I'm not saying it's an unskilled profession, and I'm not criticizing it at all, but I think the majority of the importance is really like just I think a lot of the reason people need to go there sometimes is just literally to have someone listen, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And especially someone who doesn't know them, like So yeah. Like when I started going to see I think she was specialized in cognitive behavior therapy. I think that's what it's called. The reason that she kind of became the person that I didn't stop talking to, or that I was more open with and more honest with, and actually managed to talk, is just simply because she seemed to be someone who was non-judgmental and easy enough to talk to. So a lot of the other people were very clinical and very just, I wouldn't say unfeeling, but that kind of doctor attitude of just like very, very business like.
You're not actually connecting to someone; they're just doing their job.
I wouldn't necessarily say you have to connect to someone. I'd say it's much more important to. It's much more important to be able to feel like you can say whatever you like, you know. I guess it's mostly about yourself, what works for you, really. Again, like, you know. But yeah,
exactly. Because sometimes I see people and they really need direction. I'm not one to give people direction. I don't want to tell them what to do, because usually that doesn't work. It really has to come from within, and so you ask questions, you try to we call it solution-based therapy, so it's different than the cognitive one. It also uses aspects, but we rather ask about the solution and about how things would look like when the person wouldn't be struggling anymore, instead of focusing on the problem. But even then, I think that is a really, really good technique, because you really get an insight in the person's wishes and dreams sometimes even. But sometimes people are not able to tell them, and they really want to talk about their problem, and that's good too, because as you just said, sometimes they just need someone to listen to them. That's it. And you don't have to say, okay, so I have this and this prescription for you, and here you go, you're healed. No, you just need to be the ears, and that's it.
Yeah.
And also not knowing them helps. But yeah.
I just realized that I'm beating up René Descartes and Friedrich Nietzsche and Thomas Aquinas, Aristotle.
You did the thing.
No, yeah, well, I think Sheep already had this team.
I did. They are called Ignorance is Bliss, and there is Friedrich Nietzsche, Thomas Aquinas, Aristotle, Soren Kierkegaard, Sun Tzu, Karl Marx.
I really appreciate how thematic this this is.
It's one of the reasons I suggested this team.
Yeah, Kaf actually told me to make a team with psychologists that I'm teaching about, but this is really cool.
Nice.
I could have also gone with my chaos team. I can't remember what the team name is, but they're all called like happiness and, you know, all these different types of
fluffy. Yeah.
But no, like my basically the thyroid problems can come along at about puberty. So mine kind of hit me around about 14, 15. And I started, I was always fairly lazy and, what's it called when you don't want to do anything?
Lethargic? I don't know.
Lethargic, yeah. A bit more like, I had a tendency to, when I needed to do, unmotivated. Yeah. I was very unmotivated. So that kind of really hit in my kind of early teens, and it wasn't until I was about 20 to 21 that my anxiety and all that other stuff really started to kick in, and that was the first time that it really came into focus. Was I was coming back from a job. I was working on the door, and it was a fair while away, and it must have been probably about 3 in the morning. No, it's probably more about 5 in the morning, and I was driving down a main road, and I just got hit with this. Like, I'd never really experienced it much before, you know. I'd had a panic attack before, but it was never that serious. And then it suddenly just like hit me, and I was you know, driving on a main road, and suddenly I had heart palpitations, shortness of breath. I thought I was having a heart attack, you know.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and scary. Yeah.
So I spent probably the next couple of hours sitting on the side of the road, like hoping it would stop. And I didn't have any idea what it was at the time, you know. So yeah, that was very scary, and eventually I called my folks. They came to pick me up, and they took me to the ER. And yeah, it was they basically said to me, you seem to be fine. There's not really anything wrong with you. So yeah, carry on. And I probably ended up working, carrying on as a bouncer for about a year maybe after that, with like panic attacks and anxiety the whole time. It was not the most fun I've ever had.
No, they didn't send you to someone, or because the ER actually has psychiatrists and psychologists too.
Well, no. This is the thing about the UK as well, which kind of sucks, is it's not very good with this stuff. Like I still haven't been properly diagnosed. Like because of the expense of my thyroid medication, which is massively fucking expensive, I'll have you know. My doctor refuses to diagnose me because she'll get in trouble with the board of doctors that she reports to, basically.
Wait. She's not giving you a diagnosis because you cost too much?
Yeah.
That's not legal, ethical, etc.
No. But she really said that, or?
Basically, the deal is I'm going to a specialist, but I'm not on the NHS. I'm not on the kind of the free healthcare because of complications. So it's basically like you're ill and there's something wrong with you, but it's very expensive, so you can pay for it yourself.
Okay, that's...
You need to move to Sweden.
No. Like, let's not get into politics, but I'm not moving to Sweden. Kath has an idea of my opinions on Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah. I really, by the way, wonder if there isn't another way. And are you comfortable with this physician that helps you?
Thank you, Darth Physicist, for that €35 donation towards the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. Sorry for interrupting. Keep going, guys.
Darth Physicist, you rock!
Woo! Nice.
Honestly, like, I think... Like, there are two kind of approaches that people take mentally to mental health problems. One approach is basically mollycoddle someone, do whatever they want because they're broken, right? The other approach is suck it up, there's nothing wrong with you, all you need is mental strength to get through it, blah, blah, blah. They're both bullshit, basically. In my opinion,
yeah, exactly. In your opinion, what would work?
Okay, so someone who is currently going through a panic attack, someone who is currently going through a through really bad anxiety, or like really heavy depression, anything like that, then yeah, you sit with them, you talk with them
for the acute stage.
Yeah, you do what you can to help them, but at the end of the day, as soon as they're even a little bit normalized, you start pushing them, because so many people get lethargic with this stuff once.
Too accepting, basically.
Yeah,
like okay, this is my world now. This is where I am, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that feeling of, especially with depression, that feeling of helplessness is actually a big part of the problem, which is also why I got kind of angry. Recently, there was a conversation on Twitter, and someone was going, well, I have depression, and then someone else said, that's just a mindset, and you don't really have a disease. And I remember, I think it was Ammunition who said, well, it's really just the chemicals in my brain, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I get why you say that, why you want to explain that there's something like chemically wrong with you, which prevents you from having complete control over this. But the sense I can't help it might help you not feel as bad about it, not feel like it's your fault.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but it's also counterproductive, because there is stuff you can do, and there's by telling yourself I can't help this, you're basically adding to your own sense of helplessness, that there's nothing you can do and it's all hopeless.
Oh, and shutting down, yeah.
Definitely.
So
like,
it's the balance between feeling able to act on your feelings and on your environment on the one hand, without feeling guilty or responsible for the fact that you have those feelings. And that is a very tricky balance, and it's something that's very hard to get right for people. Oh, and I have injured Karl Marx.
Dude, Karl Marx. Actually, no.
Filthy commie.
But yeah, no, like, for myself, I am acutely aware that there is more I could do to improve my situation, mental health speaking. You know, I could do I could do more exercise, I could eat better, I could stop smoking, I really should stop drinking Diet Coke for the caffeine, you know, all these kind of things. At the end of the day, I'm very aware that it's fairly self-destructive to keep doing these things, but you know, I'm not going around making excuses for it, you know. I'm not saying like, oh, you know, I have to drink caffeine because that's what my body craves, and therefore that's why.
Sure.
Blah blah blah.
But what you just said are you know, that is actually the general knowledge. You should do this, you should do that, but it's a really big list, and especially when you still look for the motivation, the internal motivation to move towards stopping drinking and caffeine and whatever. It sounds like you didn't get there yet, and
I've gotten there before. Like I've cut out caffeine before, I've cut out smoking before, I've done
even in little steps, like really little steps, like start with one thing or just lessen it. I'm not saying that's going to help you immediately, but wanting it, wanting to stop is a different thing than actually experiencing that it also helps you.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I've done the exercise and I've done other things as well, and I'm very aware of how much it can help.
But maybe not enough. Maybe it didn't help enough.
I mean, there's a certain amount of because partially because my issues are chemical as well. Like Steve was talking about before, you know. There's a certain psychology for me of like, if I'm not getting the meds I need and etc., it's kind of like, you know, why bother, because it's not going to help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, there is a certain amount of that running around in my head, which again, you know, when you have low motivation, I think a lot of people like, they see the depression as the most dangerous thing, but depression is very swings and roundabouts. You know, depression comes and goes. Like one day you can be super depressed and feel like nothing is ever going to work. Hey, Friedrich Nietzsche got knocked down. That's interesting for that.
Yeah, go Freddie.
You can feel super
Nothing's
depressed.
going to work.
Yeah, nothing's going to work, and Nietzsche gets knocked out.
He's such a nihilist.
But yeah, no, you can feel like nothing's going to work out, and you know, all these sorts of things. And the depression can be very bad, and it's probably the most dangerous in terms of you know, suicide and just kind of giving up on life. But the anxiety part of things, you know, not the panic attacks, not the depression, the anxiety is probably the most harmful, because the anxiety is always there with you, and instead of anything else.
Speaking of always there with you, shadowing. No, doesn't work.
Yes.
That would have been so nice.
But yeah, the anxiety's always there, like, you know, Jesus fucking Christ. The anxiety's always there, beating you down, and that's what causes people to really, like, give up and stop trying, I think. You know, having experienced all of them, like, the depression can be really bad, don't get me wrong. But the anxiety is the thing that just kicks your ass daily. And
because it's more persistent, it's always there.
It's always there. And when
I read this one description of it recently on Discord, I think, with which said that it's like the boss music of the game is always on, but the boss is never coming. So you're always got this dramatic thing going, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Something's wrong now. But there's never actually the thing. It's just the feeling of the thing.
That's a decent description, to be honest, because, like, there's always this kind of, you know, there's always this feeling that you can fight, like, you can fight the panic attack, you know. There are a lot of ways to deal with it, and if you'd like me to give some tips on how to deal with panic attacks,
yes,
I can do that in a bit. The anxiety, you can fight that anxiety, and I have done for years and years and years and years. And the next day, it will be just as difficult and just as rough as it was. So you get,
just because you've managed to beat it once doesn't mean you've beat it down. It just means you've suppressed it for the moment.
You never feel like you get anywhere with it, and that can be really demotivating
and keeping you in its grip forever, like that's what it feels. I heard that before, real bad. And the thing is, exactly when I've seen people dealing with anxiety attacks that weren't that frequent, luckily for them, some of them really found the strength in between to focus on what helps. Why don't I have an anxiety attack right now? What is going on? But what you describe, it sounds like the far end of where it's keeping you so much in its grip that you either need medication to suppress it and then follow some therapy, or trying to live with it in a way.
My medical issue, the hypothyroid stuff, is unfortunately extremely acute a case. So basically, the thyroid, for those of you who may not know or just never heard of it, it produces thyroxine, which I don't know exactly what it does. It regulates your body's chemistry and all these kind of things. And my thyroid basically doesn't produce the chemical enough and doesn't break it down in the right way. So not only is it not working properly, the medication I take doesn't get broken down and processed properly. So so it's basically like a double bummer. Which means,
does your medication work now? Do you feel like your thing?
Yeah, the medication definitely works. The problem is I used to have a specialist who was prescribing me my medication, and I was on medication for like 3 years. It was going really well. This assassin is just killing me. I was on the medication for like 3 years. It was going really well. You know, I was able to drive. I was able to be outside and, be in uncomfortable situations, clearly working. Unfortunately, my doctor died. And that meant that I didn't get any medication for about a year and a half. So I basically, at this point, I'm having issues remembering to take my medication. I'm having issues, with all these different things. But basically, it amounts to shit.
So
yeah.
And so when your doctor died, there wasn't anyone to you didn't get anyone to replace him, or
we had to jump through a whole load of hoops and so forth to get to the point where I could get a new doctor because of the way the British medical system is bullshit.
Okay, yeah.
So like as soon as
Sorry. Yes, go on.
Yeah, as soon as my doctor died, we started, going through the motions, finding a new doctor, etc. And it took about a year and a half to get me back on medication.
That sounds real grave. And because I know, I also have a friend with a thyroid problem, and I was wondering, have you ever talked to other people with the same thyroid deficit, what they are experiencing and whether it's the same or
most people are on a lighter dosage than me, and honestly, since I've been going to this new guy, he's really good and he's really professional. I like him, but he's been pushing me to drop my dosage, and because I want at least some semblance of medical care, I've dropped my dosage a fair amount, so that's been a bit iffy as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
So do you
also
find
Sage
that...
is kicking my ass.
Yeah, of course. That goes without saying.
And I'm trying to distract you. You do understand.
So, yeah, this is all a way to make me beat Sheep again, because that's the real goal of today. It's not even my birthday.
Didn't I beat you last time? No, did we draw? I can't remember.
It was a...
I know I was Skaven. I was playing with the Skitter team.
Yeah, you didn't care to one turn. I remember that.
I just remember we were just chatting and joking while my Skaven repeatedly died. But yeah, like I've spoken to a lot of people who have anxiety, who have depression. Like it's always different. There's always There's always.
It seems like these people do tend to cluster in certain communities as well, or maybe that's. I mean, your Discord's full. Then my Discord's rapidly filling up. Mostly people following Calf around, I think.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of a lot of people who can't function in the real world. I think Twitch is a great place for them, to a certain extent. I think it does foster an environment of like drug addicts. Drug addicts, if they are together, they will hold each other back and they will like drag each other down. I see a lot of people. Someone will come in and they're clearly doing a kind of attention grabbing, like they'll say a statement, whether it be I just took a whole load of drugs or I just got really drunk, etc., etc. Like a lot of people with these problems crave people telling them it's all okay. They crave people saying, oh, you're fine.
Or people saying them, oh, really? Oh, do you think that's a good idea? Because even any response is confirmation in a way.
Yeah, but like the thing a lot of people want to hear, who have depression and who have anxiety and this kind of thing, is that they're fine how they are. Because when you have this anxiety, when you have these panic attacks, stability is very important. And also just the kind of validation of you don't need to do anything, you're fine.
You're okay the way you are.
Yeah. And I see this on Twitch all the time of people basically just going, you're fine how you are, you're killing the Sage.
Don't worry about waking up Hypatia.
You're not fine how you are, Sage, stop it.
Yeah, exactly, I was gonna say.
but you know, like, and it's not helpful. And the reason it's not helpful is, you know, unless you spend a lot of time with these people, that's just what people say. You know, people are always going to say, you're fine, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah. You need to actually get in touch with people, and they need to know that your judgment isn't just some statement, but actually telling something about you. I
mean, you don't. The point where you're kind of good is when you don't need to get the validation of people who, like, you know, you don't need people. You don't need to go onto the internet, onto Twitch or onto some message board or Discord and complain about your life so that people can tell you you're all right. You know, that's a very, very important first step, I feel.
But I think because that's double, because sometimes you need someone to tell you, hey, it's okay, you're fine, because the way you feel is the way you feel, and we can talk about it, but it's not something really abnormal. And some people really do need that, because sometimes it's really a characteristic with a person that just got out of context and even into anxiety attacks. And sometimes you can really help a person by normalizing the problem, by putting it back in proportion. So sometimes people do need that. But what you described is, I think, when a person doesn't need that anymore, but really needs someone to grab them by the hand and say, okay, let's go. You have a problem. We're going to help you. See the difference? I mean, that's a really fine line.
Yeah, and like this is the reason why when people come onto my live streams and say these kind of things is why, you know, like sometimes people will come onto a live stream and say, I'm feeling suicidal, and pretty much, you know, like very crying for help. And, you know, the problem is you don't know whether that's true or not for a start, because it could just be attention seeking, it could just be trolling, it could be whatever. And the other problem, of course, Socrates, why? The other problem, of course, is that you're not qualified to, you know, talk to them about it.
That was exactly the problem I had with today's stream, which is why I invited Dot. Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm probably slightly more qualified than some because, you know, the whole brain stuff. But not really.
I mean, if someone comes onto your stream and says, "I'm going to kill myself," what do you say aside from "don't"?
Don't.
You know, like,
don't try suicide.
You don't know them well enough. You don't have any expertise or.
It also really depends on who they are, because treating the chat as a singular thing doesn't really do justice to the degree to which at least I, and I know Caf as well, feel like we know the people in these communities. I'm pretty sure that
I do know my 10-year.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that some of the people who are on Discord a lot feel like they actually share frequently and that they know each other, which is really different from a random popping into chat, right? So I want to nuance it a bit when it comes to just how non-personal online communication is.
Yeah, and it's also, you have to, well, I don't have that much experience with this kind of communities, but I do have experience with people saying they want to die in as a cry for help or a cry for attention. And it could be in a different place. It doesn't have to be in a chat room, but it can still be anonymously or even in a big group of friends.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, you all might have seen, but there are so many campaigns right now that bring suicide in a different light, where they want to help the community to seek for the different cries for help you can you see or you hear or you can sense when you talk to people. And what they all say is one thing: just try to take it seriously if you can, because it might be a serious cry. Sorry, what? Did something happen?
Let's scroll back. So the shy guy is telling us that his aunt had one of her co-workers actually hang herself at work. It's just,
and you see, like, again, like, not to call Shy Guy into question, or whatever. I don't know if he's a regular viewer or if he's new, but that could just as easily be trolling, or it could be, you know, like, this is the kind of thing. And the point is taking this away from the mental health for a second. This is Twitch, and gaming on Twitch is entertainment, you know. So you walk a really fine line when people come in with these issues, because on the one hand, you have something you care about, you know. Anyone who's been through anxiety and panic attacks and depression, etc., they tend to be very enthusiastic about helping people with the same problems, because it's empathy, you know.
That's kind of what today's about as well.
But you have a business to run at the same time. You know, you have to entertain people, and if someone's coming into your live stream saying, you know, like, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I just got into a fight, I'm really drunk, I'm doing drugs, I want to kill myself, it's not going to go well for your stream, because everyone's going to be like, this place sucks, I want to leave.
If every live stream is depressing like that, then that's not good.
Yeah.
But what's the question here? Because are you wondering what to do about it, or are you wondering how to get rid of those people, or what? No, seriously. I mean, like,
my point here really is that people on Twitch very often have, to a lesser or minor degree, have the same problems. You know, a lot of people on Twitch do. I've noticed.
Gaming addiction being first and foremost among them, I guess. So what I see a lot is, I see a lot of people coming into Twitch streams complaining about their personal life, like really oversharing for the amount that they know these people, you know, and all of the people in the chat will very, very often be like, you know, oh, that's terrible, tell me more about it. Like, there's no assistance there. There's no actual help. It's like I was saying before, it's like drug addicts, you know, almost bringing each other down. I don't know. I mean, Monkey Juice, who was here earlier today, he has had a very, very rough time, and he actually texted me on Facebook to tell me how he had been dreading going to university again after a rough patch, and just listening to us talk about this has already helped him a lot and made him feel way better, in like he's not alone, and that this is not just him, and those kinds of things. I mean, you never know when it actually does help someone, when it actually does do a lot of good.
And why
so I think
I'm a bit
less cynical about the potential for communities like ours to provide help there. You know what? Stalling in a game like this would be really, really sad. Even though you've got a babe. Let's just play another drive.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's 100% a bad thing. My point kind of is that it's not helpful in your chat, and like people like, so Monkey, he wasn't coming into the chat to air out his problems and have people say, don't worry, you'll be fine. You know, he was listening to other people going through that issues, and like, you know, for me, you know, if I jumped into a Twitch chat, or, you know, just a random Discord or something like that, and I started like laying out all my problems, you know, it's not helpful. It's I don't know, there's kind of a placebo thing going on there, you know.
Well, maybe so. And would that be bad?
Long term, definitely, because you can get into the habit. I've seen people.
That's what.
Get into the habit, and like that's their treatment. That's how they treat their issues. Is they do this over and over again until people start getting fed up of it, and then they're like, "Oh, for God's sake, this is the same thing all the time." They start to feel isolated. They start to feel like no one cares. Like, one of the biggest dangers of anxiety, depression, the list is that it's very, very toxic if you're not careful. Like, you think like alcoholism is toxic, like anxiety and I have seen people go from the nicest people in the world to, closed off, toxic, intentionally like hurting people because it's the only way they can feel good about themselves. So, like I've had a lot of experience with people with this kind of, outside of myself, I've known a lot of people with anxiety and depression and everything.
Yeah. So in your stream or your chat box, it seems like they're almost at the right address to address their problems, because you might help them or push them in a direction, like into getting help or not getting help, but talking to someone.
Well, in my live stream, as Sage probably knows, pretty much anything goes in terms of conversation.
Exactly, I think so too. And even other, even Facebook or some other social media where people are allowed to just vent. Don't you? No, I'm just saying it's not something you can prevent, the venting.
Oh no, absolutely not.
You can put up rules, which sometimes helps a little.
I don't like rules. This is totally separate from.
Yeah, I think my rule is don't be a douche. I think that about covers it.
But I mean, people can come into my stream and say sexist things and say racist things, and I won't time them out or ban them. People come into my stream and say shit about me. Like, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm. You troll them back.
I don't really troll them back exactly. I tend to just be like, I heard a better one before, and after they realize you don't care, then they disappear after a couple of minutes. Generally, we encourage them to be more imaginative. Eat a dick! Eat a dick! Eat a dick! Sorry.
Well, well.
It's. I don't know why you asked me to play Blood Bowl 2, dude. I don't know why. I'm gonna go get a drink very quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Even now, because I can see the chat as well, a lot of people want to say something. They just want to let you know that they also have someone in their family or even themselves, and in a way, that's I don't know how those people feel right now, but apparently they feel like they can say it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's actually it can be a really good thing. Just knowing that you're not the only one, you're not dealing with it, and I know I'm saying something that is almost a cliche, but I don't see the problem in that. Except for when you try to, because now we're really getting into this deep discussion, like what to do and what not to do when you see it in your chat room. But yeah, I mean, do you have to have a set of rules of how to deal with people in your chat room? No, but can we maybe talk about how it affects everyone and how it can help everyone to vent these things and even ask questions if they do have them. I lost my own train of thought.
Well, I do think that it can be helpful to people, and maybe I'm just a bit less cynical about this. I don't know, but I wouldn't want to discourage it too much in my viewers. I mean, I feel like a lot of the regulars they spend a lot of time on the stream and on the Discord, and these are the people that they might talk to the most on a given day. And then if that's your perspective, then then it's pretty hard to overshare, considering that these are the way to go, sheep. Considering these are the people you interact with the most.
And as stream, how would you call yourself? A stream leader or a stream
Streamer
owner
is
or
the word.
Streamer. Sorry, guys.
Content creator.
Sorry, guys. Again, but as a streamer, you don't necessarily sign up for having the complete responsibility over psychiatric problems, because you don't.
True.
You're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but you can have a social or more a social purpose to it, and that's your choice. That's your choice, and you don't have to have it. And don't
still
feel you have
responsibility for a community in a sense.
Yeah, community. That was the word I was looking for. And as a experienced person, because that's what you are. Oops, I forgot your name. Sheepdog. That's you are an experienced person, and you can say or you can describe things so well. I think that really helps people just to hear you, but you don't have to, and don't feel the need that you have to if you don't want to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even me being, I haven't really a specific question. I don't know if I had, by the way, because I saw someone saying that you can send me a personal message. I don't think I can get those, so maybe you can send them to the Sage or to Cav. But even just being out there and talking about and having a platform to give attention to everything we are talking right now, I think we already do something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just stating the obvious. I know, but it's good to state the obvious sometimes.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Quills has a valid point here. Many people on here, perhaps, this is the most human interaction they get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the introverts and the people who have trouble leaving their homes. They tend to see their stream interaction or their whatever online lives as much more important than others might. Because it's safe and it's sheltered and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, but surely what they should be doing is going out and interacting with people outside.
Is that your opinion,
That's
or
hard.
do you really think that?
What they should be doing is giving me the ball so that I can score again. Yeah, you snaked it. You have a skill reroll. Yeah, well done.
You remember
Splendid.
how I say every time I have a really important roll, I roll double ones? It's not
Everyone
just for
does.
show. Every time.
Everyone does.
No, every time it's me. I mean, I know it's not. Yeah, I mean, like, this... I have... as I said, I've had a lot of interactions with people who have anxiety, who have depression, and etc. And one thing I've found is, like... Okay, here's a good example. My flatmate, he... And, like, this is an example of me as well as him messing up. My flatmate was renting from me.
Well, he was living in your place without paying rent, right?
For about a year, yeah. And he has anxiety. He avoids conflict, all these kind of things. And he came back. He'd been paying for rent for quite a while. He came back from going to visit his family, and they cut him off, and he didn't tell me. So he had no way to make money. Now he could have told me. You know, he could have gotten a job. He could have worked it out with his family. You know, all of these things. After about 3 or 4 months, I realized that you know, this was going on because I don't really notice.
Suddenly your credit card starts bouncing and stuff like that.
No, he was paying it into PayPal. Like, I don't really need that money exactly, so I wasn't checking my PayPal. But I did check my PayPal at one point, and I was like, okay, I haven't received any money for this. What's going on? Jesus Christ, I'm playing like a Skaven. And yeah, I basically, in the end, after avoiding it for ages, because, you know, with anxiety, you tend to, you teach yourself to avoid anything that can exacerbate your anxiety. So I avoided talking to him for a while. I didn't want the hassle of the conversation and all this kind of thing. In the end, I spoke to him, and he basically, not to mince words, he lied to me and said, you know, he's going to sort it out. Don't worry about it. Just needs a bit of time. You know, I spoke to him again a month later. I was like, I'll give you a month. After a month, he's like, yeah, you know, everything's fine. I'll get it sorted.
Do you think he deliberately lied to you, or do you think he was deceiving himself about the situation, though?
I think
there's a big difference in terms of what it does to your relationship, I think.
Yeah. I think it was a mix. To be honest, I think that he for the most part, he just wanted more time. You know, he didn't want to sort anything else. He wanted things to stay how they were because it was comfortable. And I think he said, you know, everything's going to be sorted, hoping that somehow it would magically get sorted, but not doing anything about it. You know, in the end, what happened is my frustrations came out, and I started complaining about it to some friends and complaining about it on stream. And he ended up getting outraged at me for
outing him.
Yeah, for discussing this stuff. You know, it's the general stuff like, oh, you should have spoken to me about it. Why can't you? Blah, 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 blah. And the thing is like that's definitely a problem when you're a streamer. So your own part in things is very public, and I mean people know him as a person because he's been on your stream quite a bit. Yeah.
And so you're discussing something that matters to your life, but you're also discussing someone in public.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of intimate because it's your stream. But at the same time,
Yeah, you did talk to him, right? It wasn't true that you didn't talk to him at all, or didn't?
Yeah, no, I spoke to him on multiple occasions, but the thing is, and this is what I was talking about before, is it's very easy to... I think the main dangers of anxiety and depression is to like let your self-awareness drop. So, you know, you like people with depression, people with anxiety, people with panic attacks, people with etc. I see so often them blaming everything on everyone else. Like,
yeah, but that's also a way of dealing, of coping with it. And the fact that you shared and he got really angry with you could also be because he was really angry at himself that he didn't share, or that maybe it was a first step of dealing with it. Because that's what I also see a lot, like people blaming other people and trying to get this reaction out of you. And then suddenly you do, and they got really mad and you messed up. But sometimes they needed you to mess up for them.
It does bring us to an important... Sorry. It does bring us to an important mentality thing where a lot of people have trouble focusing on the right things. Because, you know, when in psychology we talk about locus of control, how some people have a very internal one, which basically means that they blame themselves for everything that goes wrong, even if they objectively have nothing to do with it. Yeah. And some people have a way external one where they blame others for stuff that's actually their fault. And as somewhere in between that, there is a kind of sensible middle ground position where you take responsibility for the stuff that you own and you stop worrying about the stuff that you don't. And there's a healthy balance there, right? If you manage to worry about the things you have control over, but not worry about the things you don't have control over, that's kind of important.
It's also a sort of acceptance of the things you can change, and acceptance of the things that are maybe not in balance, not right now. And There was someone
like Sheep accepting that he was never going to win this game.
Oh, I accepted that before I started playing.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. Someone said because
I do
you
blame
said
you for it, though.
Of course, I am to blame. This is purely well. I'd say we are both to blame.
Well, that's
because
a way
I'm to
of
blame because I'm
coping
good,
with this.
and you're to blame because you don't know how to roll dice.
I know how to roll dice. I just don't roll dice well. Or play this game well. There's a whole load of
self-awareness. There's a whole load of
well, sure. People don't have control. Morbid Orbits is saying people don't have control over the past. No, but a big part of why memory and consciousness matter is because they allow us to mentally time travel. They allow us to learn from the things we did in the past and plan for the things we do in the future. And that's kind of relevant here, I think. If you don't learn from past mistakes, then you're going to repeat them. It's kind of obvious. And so knowing which parts of what went wrong are your own fault isn't that helpful in terms of actual blame. That's not necessarily what we're looking for, but it might help you realize how to prevent winding up in the same situation again.
Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I was able to understand my flatmate's thought process as all of this was going on was that I had been through that exact situation whereby I needed to do something, but I just kept putting it off. And, you know, it's very, you know, I've spoken to so many people with anxiety who refuse and don't want to go to a psychiatrist. And I've said to them, I was exactly like that. You know, I resisted it. You know, and the only time I ever did it was when it was my idea. I don't, you know, I'm not too much of a, you know, pushing people to do things like that. So, you know, but there does come a point, I find, when, you know, when you're talking to someone on a regular basis who has anxiety and this kind of thing, there's only so many times you can give them advice before you do actually have to say, it's your problem, you have to deal with it or not. Like, you can't force people to go to a psychiatrist, for example. If they realize they need to, great.
But that's maybe people seek you out for this advice, but it's also not necessarily your place to tell them whether they should or shouldn't see a psychiatrist, because and also the psychiatrist and or psychologists, by the way, should have that. Yeah. Well, the one
I think Dot has MD envy.
That's not going to help me understand what's going with the.
Yeah, psychiatrists are able to. The main difference for the public is that they can prescribe medication, whereas psychologists can't, because they studied psychology and not and haven't done the whole.
They only do the talky bits.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
Bits. Yeah. That having said that, is psychiatrists train to from a lot of psychiatrists that I have seen, they train to do a short-term analysis of the problem, where they can decide whether there's medication needed, or they can send you to the psychologist that can do a longer
a series of sessions or treatment plan or whatever.
Or even a combination, of course. But that was not what I was going to say. What I was going to address is that it sounds really, because we come back to Sheepdog all the time because of your experience, I think. But again, don't feel like you have to carry the burden of the world, you know, to whether to advise people to go to a psychologist or not. I mean, it's great that people can talk to you. It's really great that you can tell us of your path, but you also have quite a view, I think, of the help you have gotten already. So maybe, I mean, it's good to get your view, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is that other people can still seek help if they. Yeah, I lost my train of thought again. That's because
this happens.
It's also because I'm reading the comments of people.
Yeah.
Like,
Did
for
you
instance,
read Nanto's question?
So, which one?
Namto asked, how can someone tell if they have actual depression or anxiety and not something that's more temporary and related to a certain current life situation? I think that's a very important question.
I can weigh in on this.
Can I then do that?
Could we have the psychologist answer this first?
But I'm an expert.
And then you can have yours.
No, yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Well, there's no black and white answer to that because it's very it depends on the situation you have. But to be honest, a lot of things are connected to life situations, even if the depression is a genetic predisposition that you have, but they can be triggered by something you experience. So it's a really thin line, or actually more of a web, and something that a psychologist or psychiatrist can really look into with you. Not you, but just you in general. So how can someone tell? That's a really good one. When you go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, they tend to ask you about your family history. Has there been other depression or anxiety? As to look for genetic predispositions. And even if there's nothing in the family history or nothing you know about, it doesn't mean it can't be a genetic thing. And as I said, usually it's also when you get a depression or anxiety, as I said, it can be triggered by something that happened to you or something that was always there but just didn't really come out. So,
so suppose someone is wondering whether they're in this situation right now, right? They have the current situation, because this is kind of an analytical, how could this situation come about answer. But suppose someone says, hey, I think I might be depressed, but I'm not sure. Would you recommend just doing an online questionnaire themselves, or just going straight to their doctor, or what would be the right course of action?
Yeah, the online questions are very different. Some of them are quite good and quite extensive, and some of them aren't. So I don't have a list of because it also depends in what country and what language you do the questionnaires. Yeah, you can always do them for yourself, just to have, just like lots of MDs have an alcohol questionnaire on their website to check if you're having trouble with alcohol, just to check if it's normal that you drink so much or so much. And it's the same with depression questionnaires. They will
don't expect to give you a diagnosis, but it might give you a ballpark idea of where you're at. Yeah, thanks
for that. And but in the end, I would, if you have such doubt, because they can, what a questionnaire can't, they will dynamically look at the problem with you. So they can take you in a different path if they think, this question isn't enough, maybe I should go there. And questionnaire is probably mostly standard, especially the short ones. So a questionnaire will definitely help you give more insight if you later on go to talk to a specialist, but it's just a step to get there. But as I also said, if you have the insight and you need the insight, or the questionnaire has helped you, sometimes what I have also seen, people use that to help themselves. And we're talking about a real mild depression, not even a depression, just hard days.
Yeah. So, I remember when I was doing research and I had to give these questionnaires to my subjects. Yeah, I would go over those questions and go, well, I guess this means I'm probably not really depressed. Also, I guess this means that I really am addicted to gaming. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of good to know. I'm not going to change anything, but it's helpful as a framing for myself, basically.
Yeah. But if you really want to get more help, then go to your physician.
Yeah.
Because they can help you through the steps you have to take if you need more help.
Yeah.
And the questionnaire won't.
If you don't like or trust your physician, then get another one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also very important.
Because if some people have their GP and they're like, yeah, I don't like this person, that's kind of important. That barrier shouldn't be there too much.
You should be able to trust them and to trust their opinion. Yeah.
Could I just add in a little bit to Gnome's question?
Of course.
It really doesn't matter whether it's like a proper, inverted commas, depression or it's just like a situational thing. Everyone deals with depression and anxiety differently. Like, some people can have really strong depression and manage to get through the day. Some people can have really, not as bad depression, but it just debilitates them. It's not really a question of, mental strength or anything like that. It's just, sometimes you need someone to talk to. So what I would say is it doesn't matter if you have actual depression or anxiety or just a temporary thing. If you need to go and talk to someone, or if you need like a professional opinion, then go and do it,
Yeah.
Like there are people specifically trained to help people get through grief, for example. Like, grief is a temporary thing. Mm-hmm. How you deal with it is different for everyone, but there are grief counselors and all this kind of thing. So, like, regardless of the situation, you can always find someone to help you out with it, like a professional. Yeah.
And they're also trained to ask the questions you need to hear, probably. Or usually, yeah.
Or like draw out the conversations you need to have.
Yeah. And it can
sit
help
there
you
and shut up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's all you need.
When all else fails, hire a prostitute and talk to them.
What?
Yeah, but that's very expensive for something you don't really do to them.
Well, if it's a temporary problem, you only have to hire...
You can't say that kind of stuff on my stream. I mean, Dot and I are from Amsterdam. Prostitution is a massive taboo here. We cannot go there.
Well, just smoke some weed then.
Well, yeah.
Self-medication is a good topic, actually. Yeah.
Next stream, next birthday.
You're gonna get Sage a prostitute for his birthday? Wow. Okay.
Again?
Sal is asking.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Kath.
No, it's okay. Just talk over me. Fuck.
Okay.
Sal is asking how to... Shut up! Fuck you. How to approach
you have the word. I'll mute everyone if needed.
I hate you guys. Just look at Sal's question in chat.
Yeah.
No, you read it.
Do you have any advice for how to approach getting a new doctor when you don't like your current one? I don't care for my new psychiatrist I got after I moved. I don't really know how to go about asking for a change. Tell them they suck and they should quit. And also, do they have any suggestions for a new psychiatrist?
What I would do is I would look for. I mean, it depends a lot on the circumstance. If you're in a big city or a small town, right? I mean, if you're in a small town and you have limited mobility, like you don't have a car and it's long commutes, then you might not have that much of a choice. Yeah, but if you know that there's a different place and you would like to consider going there, then chances are that they will be able. You can call them and ask whether they can cancel your previous spot, because this is an issue that people struggle with a lot. And going to someone and saying, I think your service isn't working for me is a barrier for people, and that's a barrier you shouldn't have. So I think your new place can probably go and call your old place and say, hey, your patient just walked into my office and decided to join my my practice, so you can take them out of your system now or something. I think they probably do that for you.
Now, that's what I really like about Sweden, because here you can make you make the choice yourself. You go online, you say that I have this clinic, I don't like this clinic, I'm gonna change, and you just swap it over. because your journals are in a big, huge fucking system, because Sweden is very good on your
along with your date of birth, your zip code, the color of your underwear,
exactly,
yes.
how big my flat is and everything. But I actually also did that because I was not happy with my doctor, and I said that I'm not going to go to you anymore because you suck.
Yeah. If you really have, like, it depends on the kind of issue, right? If you feel like they are bad at their job, if they're not helping you because they don't get it, or because they mistreat you in some kind of way, then yes, a letter of complaint is good. If you feel like I'm not really comfortable with them, there's the chemistry's wrong, and I don't feel comfortable sharing, then that's not something that's worthy of complaint, but it could still be something that's worthy of switching for.
Or worth addressing, because what I wanted to add is, especially with a psychiatrist over a general doctor, you need to have a good relationship in order to get help. And they know that. And if you don't have it, or you have the feeling they don't listen to you, or they don't understand you the way you think they should, then you need to tell them. And if you don't feel comfortable telling them, then there's also something wrong in your relationship. Yeah, so exactly. You either tell them, or if you don't feel comfortable, you have the right to switch and to get a second opinion and to look for yourself. You always have that right, because it's about you and you're getting help and not them. I mean, and they would like to know. I mean, maybe not all of them seem like it, but I would really love to know if someone doesn't feel helped by me. I would, and I always check at the end of my sessions. I always check: have I asked the right questions today? Have we talked about everything you want to talk? Do you feel helped? And even we ask them in the institution I work for. We ask them also anonymously, because sometimes people really don't feel too comfortable to say it to your face. But again, guys, you really have the right to tell them if they don't help you, or if you feel mistreated or not listened to or whatever. So,
their job is to help you, and you're not there to make them feel good about themselves.
Exactly. That's and if you have the feeling that they act like that, or they act like boss, or as Sage said, and you live in a smaller town and there's not many options, then you need to rethink if you're in the right place, because no one is going to be helped if you're not getting helped. Having said that, by the way, I have only a few minutes left, and then I have to leave you guys. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. If there's anything specifically for me, please ask now. And by the way, if there's other questions people haven't asked or haven't been able to ask, they can send it to the Sage maybe, and you can ask me later, because we'll stay in contact, right?
Yeah. As long as you don't leave my Discord channel, people can poke you there if they want.
Yeah, sure.
But
if I figure out how that works. But no, we'll make it work.
Help.
Yeah.
So, Dot, before you leave, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining in and addressing some questions and interrogating sheep here. That was brilliant.
I have to say, advocating prostitution is probably not a good idea for a psychiatrist. I mean, I don't 100% remember the conversation, but I seem to remember you advocating prostitution. Just saying.
That has elements that were in the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
We'd have to go back.
Sage, delete the VOD.
Yeah. All right. So, Dot, thank you very much, and I guess we'll see each other in person again soon.
I also wanted to say thank you all, and also Sheepdog. And it was really, really cool to do. And if there's anything else I can do, please let me know, and have fun, you guys, because today is also a little party, right?
Yeah, true. Yay! It is a my second streamer birthday thingy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Well, have fun.
See you, Shy Guy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
I like that. Can I keep?
Yeah, she's cool, isn't she? Yeah. It's It's been, I know her since 2003. Wow, I'm old, aren't I?
Honestly,
Yeah,
I'd have to say considering how she dealt with me, she seems like she'd make a very good psychiatrist. You know, like if anyone needs someone to talk to, you know, like professional, I'd advise her. She can deal with idiots.
Yeah, she can deal with idiots.
Oh, you're not an idiot.
She's my friend. Of course, she can deal with idiots.
Yeah. I have a topic I want to bring up, but I also need to pee. So I'm just gonna pop off to do that. And then...
This is a good break time anyway, I guess.
Okay.
And then I'll switch over to highlights and some music.
Sure.
And we'll be back in 10 minutes ish or something.
I mean, it's not going to take me 10 minutes to pee, but sure.
Well, no, but I smoke off stream.
Okay.
But you guys, I'll just leave the voice open, and you guys can talk and poop through the.
I guess I could poo. All right, I'll go poo.
All right, YouTube. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, remember to leave it a thumbs up at the bottom. And of course, if you'd like to see more videos, do check out the channel and hit subscribe on your top right.